Well, here's the thing. When we meet a toxic person, and it's just like we all come in with our own baggage. Like no
Oh,
one's
for
perfect.
sure.
The one analogy that's kind of really interesting is just imagine if you went into a casino and you had a couple
Mhm.
$100 because you've got some kind of emotional reserves, and then you sit down at one of the slot machines and you start putting in quarters, and then all of a sudden every third pull you're just like you won the lottery. It's like, oh my God, this is my favorite machine. I can't believe how this machine makes me feel so good. And it's just like
Right.
narcissism is like that because it's just like you're
Yeah.
with them and they make you feel so good. And you pull the lever again. It's like more money, more money, more money. And they fill you up all towards the top. And then all of a sudden you're like pulling and you're like, I'm not winning as often. And then you're like
Yeah.
starting to take all of the stuff that they built you up with and you're starting to use the coins that you thought you had and you're burning through those. And then eventually you're broke. And the
Yes.
machine is just like, the hell.
How can you be broke?
Yeah. And it might be all right. I'll give you three quarters because at that point it just becomes it's
Like
breadcrumbing.
the breadcrumbing. Right.
Yeah, a lot of that it
Yeah.
can create cognitive dissonance. But even in our brain, if you want to just talk about like the addiction, you go from dopamine because they make you feel so good. They make you feel like you just won the love lottery, but they can't do that. Takes work, right? That takes energy. That takes work for them. It's like they have to mirror you all the time, and so eventually
Yeah.
it's just like there's cracks. The cortisol starts to click out. More cortisol, and they're angrier and angrier. And the
Yeah.
relationship goes from 90% dopamine to 10% cortisol to 50-50 to 90% cortisol and trying to live off of the scraps of emotional energy. And then once we
Right.
separate from these people, what makes toxic relationships so dangerous is the big highs and the big lows. If there weren't the big
Hmm.
highs, there wouldn't be the big lows. A normal relationship should have more of a
Right.
even flow. But these ones,
Right.
just like the hell. And like no wonder you're unsettled. You walk in the door and it's just like, I don't know who I'm gonna deal with today. Is it gonna be Dr. Jekyll? Is it gonna be Mr. Hyde? Is it like which one is
Right. And
it's
because
like, oh
there's no
great, it's
consistency.
it's Mr. Hyde. Great. Oh, I can deal with Mr. Hyde. And then all of a sudden it turns to Dr. Jekyll. And then it's just like, oh, I can deal with Dr. Jekyll. I know exactly. I
Yeah.
got all my tools. I got all my tools. And then you realize you're wearing two hats. Yeah,
And you've
that's
lost yourself.
yeah, yeah. You've split yourself up into two. And it's just like,
Yeah.
I'm useless. I'm amazing.
Yeah.
It's just
And
like,
that's why it takes so long to heal, like for one, to get out of those relationships, but then also to heal from them. It does take a significant amount of time and it's work and effort, like going to therapy and constant effort with yourself, because these triggers are going to come up when you're not in therapy. And then also making sure that you are now starting to feed and take care of yourself and to start to do those things that you used to do and that you used to love, even if that could be going for a walk or doing art. There's been so much change in your brain as to where your focus should be at that you don't even
mm,
know yourself anymore. Like you
yeah.
don't even recognize yourself. And I felt like for me, I was fighting to stay to be myself while trying to manage everything else. And, so I am grateful to a point for that because I was still trying to stay me. I mean, it's not a normal breakup, is what I'm saying. It's a lot more than that. Like you're
Mm,
literally psychologically and most of the time physically abused. And so you have to heal from that trauma.